Chari Center of Health. Today we'll be talking about natural solutions for depression and anxiety. So stay tuned. Welcome to the Chari Center Health Hour. I'm Deepak Chari, and today we'll be talking about natural solutions for depression and anxiety. But before we talk about that, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the Chari Center of Health. The Chari Center of Health consists of my sister, Dr. Chari, who's the medical director of the Chari Center of Health, myself, Deepak Chari. I'm an engineer and certified biofeedback specialist at the Chari Center of Health, and Mama Chari. We formed the Chari Center of Health 20 years ago, and our main mission is to find natural, safe, alternative, advanced techniques and technologies for health and wellness. And we've been doing that for thousands of people all over the US and all over the world. So that's what we've been doing. And it's been very successful for us. And we've been very happy about that. And we love helping everyone. So, in this current environment, there's been a lot of depression and definitely a lot of anxiety and uncertainty in this COVID environment. And it's sometimes very difficult to cope with all of that and deal with all of that. And I can relate to that because I also went through a lot of depression and anxiety even before all of this happened. And I was looking for a solution. And I originally have an engineering background. And though I was going through that, I didn't know how to deal with it. Well, through a major wonderful synchronicities, I'm doing this work today. But it started with my own journey of clearing my depression and anxiety. And as a result, I was able to help thousands of people all over the US and all over the world, in person and virtually. And I can do the same for you too. And one thing I wanted to mention is I also offer a complimentary 15-minute consult with me so you can experience what I do. And I can relate to what you're feeling and going through because I've been through it. We've all been through it. So believe me, I understand. And that's why I also understand how I can help you with that. My website is fastanxietyhelp.com if you want to know more about what I do. Fastanxietyhelp, HELP.com. And I can get to the core of your what's causing the issues. And I use an advanced technology called advanced voice biofeedback. And what I do is I listen to the sound of your voice and I can actually hear the limiting beliefs from your voice, which are from your subconscious, because your voice is the most accurate reflection of what you're feeling and thinking. And most importantly, I can clear these limiting patterns of anxiety and depression and stress and fears and worries from your subconscious mind quickly and easily. And I've done this, as I mentioned, for thousands of people all over the US and world. And it's very powerful and very lasting. And you'll see on the website there's many testimonials as well. So I can definitely relate to what you've gone through because I've gone through it myself. I wanted to tell you a little bit about what happens during these kinds of times of stress that we're going through with all of the COVID. What happens is we go through a fight flight response, and it starts from an organ in the brain called the amygdala. It's a small organ in the brain. But what that does is searches for any kind of danger or anything that's scary or can be a problem for us. So if it sees an S shape, it might think it's a snake. If it thinks like everyone's wearing a mask, this is dangerous. It's not safe outside. I'm not safe. And it creates a fight flight response. It sends a signal to the hypothalamus, which sends a signal to the pituitary gland, which sends a signal to the adrenals, which causes the adrenals to spike up our cortisol, which causes a fight flight response. It constricts our blood vessels, which increases our blood pressure. It increases a spike in insulin so we can run away from the danger. And all of this happens because of a fear or potential fear of a piece of wood that looks like an S, which might be a snake, or a fear that I might get this COVID, or something of any kind of fear of how long this will last, or how long this is going to go on, or all of these fears. And this happens over and over and over again, these constant fears. But the good news is there's a part of our brain called the prefrontal cortex. Now, you might say that's the wise part of our brain. That's the one that plans, organizes. It's kind of the wise part of our brain that makes good decisions that are thought clearly and thoughtfully. You can think of it like the parent and the child. The prefrontal cortex is like the parent, and the amygdala is like the child reacting to everything it sees. Well, the prefrontal cortex can be strengthened through meditation and deep diaphragmatic breathing. So that's the good news. And as that gets strengthened, then when there's a response from the amygdala, the prefrontal cortex will say, hang on, we're safe, everything's okay, no need to react, I'm in control here. You can have a seat in the back seat with the restraining seatbelt, but I'm in charge here, it's okay. And as it gets stronger and stronger, the prefrontal cortex, through a technique like meditation, the amygdala will react in less and less. So that's just a guided tip there. But of course, the work I can do will even take it to another deeper level. So we will go into that shortly. So also I wanted to tell you that every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, we have the Chari Center Community Health Clinic. And it's very powerful, and there's live Q&A with that as well. And I highly encourage you to attend that. We cover very, very deep information there. And to join that, simply text VClinic to 888-111. That's VCLNIC to 888-111. And you'll get the registration link to sign up for that. I think you'll find it really amazing, informative, and it helps unite you, and you'll feel supported in the community, as many of us told us that. So next, I would like to introduce a key person of our center, who is Mama Chari. She's the one who unifies the Chari Center of Health of the three of us, my sister Dr. Chari, myself, and Mama Chari. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mama Chari. So here she is.
Thank you, Deepak. And namaste, all of you. And welcome to our show. It is so wonderful to be with all of you. And especially right now, this week has been so traumatic. It's like a nightmare. And we all went through a very, very emotional time. And now everything is a little bit quieting down, and hope this will end. A lot of trauma. You all know from the news what happened, what is happening, and so it is very, very painful to watch all that, and especially if you are sensitive, it would be very hard. Which we are all, we are all very sensitive for others' feelings and what is happening to our humanity and so on. But thoughts are very, very powerful. They can make you very sick and they can make you happy. So at these times, we have to keep our mind very, very calm, have good thoughts, happy thoughts, nice thoughts, and try to avoid to think what is happening and what has happened, because otherwise we all get sick. So, of course, we all share all the pain and what went on. But what I would like to tell you is thoughts are very, very, very powerful. We have to think what we are thinking, really, and that happens. The thoughts make it happen. So we have to kind of think happy thoughts, good thoughts, especially about God, thinking of God. God will take us out of all these miseries, pain, and suffering. So I know it has been very hard for all of us, each and every one of us. But now we really have to keep our minds away from all that and try to have a good thoughts and peaceful thoughts and happy thoughts, and see what you can do and what you are doing and what is good for you, what is good for your health. And it's very, very crucial. So I would advise all of you, just don't think of anything what has happened. It happened and we all went through, But now, this is the time for all of us to come out of it and be brave and be calm, be peaceful and be healthy and be happy. So that's all I can say. That's what I'm trying, we are all trying to do. And that's what I'm trying to tell you also. And please have a happy, pleasantful thoughts, pleasant thoughts. It's very, very important at this time. And take care, and I will talk to you later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama Chari, for those wonderful words of wisdom. I hope you all enjoyed those beautiful words of Mama Chari. So now I'd like to introduce the medical director of the Chari Center of Health, Dr. Chari. So here she is, Dr. Chari.
Thank you, Deepak, and thank you, Mom, and thank you all for watching our show here today live. Thank you for being here live. And for those of you who may be watching the replay, we really appreciate that you're taking the time to watch this as well. These are very, very critical times in our human recorded history. For the past few months and then for the past almost 2 weeks, literally, I know what you've been feeling. We have been feeling this with the trauma. You may be feeling all the trauma. You may be feeling, depressed, feeling helpless, maybe angry and rage, sadness, helplessness, hopelessness. So many different emotions. Because as we were coming out of the quarantine and that entire situation as it was, so many of us around the United States and, of course, around the world were feeling tremendous loneliness, depression, social isolation. And then when the recent events happened over the past couple of weeks, I know that many of you may have been felt like you were pushed to the edge, and we felt that. It was exhausting, and we spent a lot of time in prayer and really a lot of contemplation, and then also seeing what can we do, how can we make a difference. And this is a very crucial period of time where we need to go within and heal ourselves, and at the same time connect with others more than ever, have open dialogue, and really be able to come together peacefully and to see what we can do to shift the dynamic in our country and around the world. And so despite outward appearances, everything is going to come together. This is a very deep process we're going through individually, collectively, as a country, and as a planet. So I can't emphasize enough that you are not alone. I want to share that with many of you I know who, as we're going into the situation, felt lonely, felt depressed, felt isolated, felt like, what is the point of it all? Felt helplessness and hopelessness. I want to reassure you that you are not alone. You are not alone. Everyone has been feeling the different emotions at different degrees and different times, so you are not alone. So as we come out now, we'll be able to connect, and we can still do this virtually, and then slowly start doing this in person where we can get together, be with one another, express what we're feeling peacefully, and then come to some practical solutions as well. So, again, I can't emphasize that you are not alone with how you're feeling. And that's why we felt it was so important to really address our emotions, depression, and anxiety, and what we can do about it. And today I'm going to be sharing with you a very, very powerful technique that has been used around the world for so many years and has helped millions and millions of people. And it was derived from Byron Katie. And her story is amazing. It's so inspiring. And I really, really hope that when I share this technique with you, that you can transform your life, because she made some powerful statements, and even the realization, which I'll get into her story as well as we go along, as how she even came up with this technique, is simply amazing. It was basically given to her as a gift to humanity when she was at the lowest point in her life, and I can't wait to share that story with you, which I will in just a minute. And this technique she shared really is based on, and I'm going to go into the technique overall, share it with you a couple of times so you hear it. And then I'm going to share with you, some slides so you can see it. And we're going to actually run through this technique as well. And so what I recommend is that if you can now get, a piece of paper, a pen or pencil, so that we can, as we go through the exercise together, you can really participate actively, because that's what you want to do. You want to go through the steps. I promise you they're simple but powerful. You'll come out of our program today with the transformation in your mindset and how you feel, and it's going to be so powerful. I promise you that. So thank you again for joining us. And if you're just joining us here live right now, I wanted to share with you today, we're going to be talking about natural solutions for both depression and anxiety, and give you a powerful technique to actually work through this. And we're going to do that live here and then take live questions and answers afterwards. So again, I was sharing with you about Byron Katie. And what she said is that the cause of all of our suffering is ultimately our beliefs. And when we question our beliefs, that is the ultimate freedom from our suffering. And that was pretty profound, even hearing those two statements, that our beliefs lead us to our suffering, and questioning our beliefs is the end of suffering. So I want to ask you just a simple question. So when you think about when someone wasn't nice to you, do you feel upset? How do you feel when you think about that? And what Byron Katie said is, when we can question the judgment that we had about that person or that particular situation, when we question that, we can actually come back to peace. And Byron Katie said her work is a process of inquiry and meditation and stillness. And she calls it the work, WORK. And that's a way to identify the thoughts that are actually causing the suffering. And with Byron Katie, it's very interesting. What happened is she went through a really severe depression. So severe, and this was back in 1986, that she said at one point she was sleeping on the floor because she didn't even feel worthy enough to sleep on the bed. And when she was sleeping on the floor, she said a bug went over her foot. And suddenly, in that instant, believe it or not, she had an epiphany. And she was free of her thoughts, and she could literally see how our suffering comes from our beliefs, and then how that when we question our beliefs, we can be free of the suffering. It's truly amazing. And so I'm going to give you an overview again of her basic process a couple of times, and then we're going to go through the actual steps. So please get a pen and paper ready. So again, she calls it the work. And the first step is to first identify what you're believing. To identify, and we're going to start with today, just one thought that is causing the suffering in your life at the moment, and that's causing you stress. And then you're going to put up that thought against 4 questions, and then do a final step called the turnaround. And again, so the first step is you're going to identify the thoughts, and we're going to have you go back to a situation where you may have been really stressed out over with a particular person, and where you may have felt maybe shame or guilt or anger or sadness about a particular situation. And then we're going to question what occurred, and through these 4 questions, and then the final step as the turnaround. So again, please get a piece of paper and a pen or pencil, because I know we have the latest technologies, but still writing things down is the most powerful. And the questions are, and I'm going to show you this in a slide as well, but I first want to just go over it. The first question is it true? The second question, can you absolutely know that it's true? Are you sure it's true? The third question, how do you react? What happens when you actually believe that thought? And notice how you're feeling. That's going to be very important. And the fourth and last question is, who would you be without that thought? I'm going to say this again. Who would you be without that thought? That's a pretty profound question. And she said, then you can see the situation without putting our stories on top of it. And then she has you go over what's called the turnarounds, which is where she invites you to consider the exact opposite. So, for example, if you say, oh, Joe, I'm just using his name for example, doesn't care about me, you would turn that question around and say, he does care about me. But again, we're going to go into this in more detail in just a minute. Then the wisdom that you're going to get from this experience as we go through this together and the compassion that you will experience are profound. And that's why I'm even having a smile on my face today, is because I went through the process myself and it was really powerful. So now I'm going to lead you to the slide. So I'm going to share my screen here. So just give me 1 second. All right. So the first thing is to question what you believe. Remember, Byron Katie said it is that our beliefs are the cause of our suffering. And when we can question our beliefs, that is the freedom from suffering. So when you question what you believe, it's actually a gift to yourself. And she said, and she created this powerful system that really we feel was really divinely given to her to free ourselves of these negative thoughts which hold us back in all areas of our life. And these negative thoughts ultimately make us suffer. And I know so many of you, like us, we're going through so many different feelings and emotions and thoughts. But now there's a solution, and this is one practical one, a way of achieving that freedom. So I'm going to ask you, what are you feeling right now? So, step one. So, if you can write down on this piece of paper with a pen or pencil, who or what is upsetting you right now? Recall a specific situation, very specific situation of who or what is upsetting you right now. Okay? So just think about that. And for example, I'm just giving this as an example. Let's say it's identifying a situation that he doesn't care about me or she doesn't care about me. So you're going to, and we're going to go through this in more detail. You are going to find an argument, a disagreement, a situation in your life when you were upset with that someone and it really upset you. And maybe you're into winning and losing. Maybe this is with the person you're living with, or it could be your mother or your father or your brother or your sister or a friend or a business colleague or someone else. And this could have been, time doesn't matter. It could have been from 10 years ago, or it could have been something that just happened this morning. Time doesn't matter, whenever that was. So you are identifying a situation that made you upset and makes you upset right now when you're thinking about it, and where you felt you were 100% right and that other person was 100% wrong. Okay? All right. So what then Byron Katie said to do is find a name for that emotion. Like, I was really angry. So I want to ask, how many of you are in touch with that emotion right now? So that's going to be really important, to getting in touch with who or what made you upset and what emotion is that. Okay? So, or were you angry? Were you hurt? And then we're going to write down in very short, simple sentences what we're feeling, and I'm going to go through that right now. So, what I'd like you to write down is, and this is just an example, that I am, let's say, angry with Joe, whatever that person's name is, because of blank. For example, he lied to me. So, just completely for an example, I am angry with Joe because he lied to me. Or it could be, I'm angry with Sally because she lied to me. Or I'm angry with XYZ person because of some situation. So whatever it is, remember, it's going to be unique for you. I'm just giving you some examples. Okay? But you were just going to take one example here, one situation, one person, one emotion. Okay? So we can get as targeted as possible. And then we're going to go through 4 questions and allow genuine answers to arise. That's going to be really important because Byron Katie said it's the answers that are the beautiful part in the work. And it's not, and without judging yourself, whatever comes out is going to be the most important. Okay? So these 4 questions are number 1, and we're going to go through this one by one, but just to give you an overview again. Question 1 is it true? Yes or no? Question 2 is, can you absolutely know it's true? Question 3 is, how do you react? What happens when you believe that thought? And number 4 is, who would you be without the thought? So let's take the first question. Is it true? Like, okay, that I'm so angry with Joe because he lies to me. So you're asking yourself, is it true? And the answer is for most of us, when you first look at this question, remember this is just a yes or no question. Is it true or not? Or another example, he doesn't care about me. Is that true? And then you can just write down yes if it is, or no if it's not. And then question number 2, can you absolutely know that it's true? Now this gives you an opportunity to experience amazing other ways of seeing the same idea. Can you absolutely know that it's true? For example, use the example that he doesn't care about me. And whatever assumption you're assuming, can you absolutely know it's true? And whatever that answer is, yes or no, just write that down. Now, the third question is, how do you react when you believe that thought? How do you feel? What happens when you think about that thought that he doesn't care about you, or whatever that situation was for you? But I'm just giving this example. How do you feel with that thought that he doesn't care about you? Now, first, emotionally, really feel that. Feel how that thought shifts your feeling. You may notice your heart rate. Is your heart racing? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel sad or depressed with that thought? Notice how you react. Notice how you're feeling in your body, whether it's from the past or the present, whenever that happened. And some examples of how you're reacting could be, I feel depressed. I feel anxious and frustrated. I feel disrespected. I feel mistreated. I feel like I'm not acknowledged. Whatever those thoughts are, please write them down. And again, short and simple answers. And write that down as we're going through this. This is so important to do this live, or if you're watching the replay, to do this while you're watching the replay. Okay. So write a few, at least 3 or so. Now, here's the fourth question, and this is really, really profound. Who would you be without this thought? Who would you be without this thought? And Byron Katie says she's not asking you to drop the thought, but she's simply asking you to think about this and just become very still. Just become very still with that. And you can close your eyes and imagine yourself with that person who made you upset or without that person. The key is thinking about without the thought, whether they're there with you or not with you, when your eyes are closed and you're just imagining the situation. The key is only the thought about what would you be without this thought, whether they're with you or not. What would you be without that thought? Without even believing this thought? How would your life be different if you didn't even have the ability to think the stressful thought that they don't care about you, for example? How would you feel? What would you prefer? Life with that thought that that person doesn't care about you, or without that thought? Which feels kinder and which feels more peaceful for you? Okay? So, for an example, here's an example answer to this question: Who would you be without the thought? You may feel, well, I'd be happier, I would be healthier, I'd be more excited about life, I would feel a lot more peaceful and a lot less stressed. That may be what you feel like without that thought. So many of us have come to understand very quickly as you experience the answers to these four questions and the answers, that the power is not actually in the work, but it's in your answers. Okay? It's in your answers. And Byron Katie says, so eventually people will come to understand it's what we're believing that's the cause of our depression, of our stress, of our anxiety, of our heart racing, of our emotions, and not even what's happening in the outer world. So this is really important to understand now more than ever. We all have to go back within ourselves. And she says that until we work with what we're believing, that we're going to keep producing in the outer world the same wars, the same pains, the same suffering that's been going on. And so that's why she said this, the work, her technique, is so powerful because it causes us to go inside into ourselves. And when we free ourselves, then we can be liberated and bring that light out and share that light with others. And as our mother was saying last week, when the candle is lit in a dark room, it lights up the room for everyone. So we can be that light. So then, after you go through these four questions, she asks and invites you to do what she calls the turnarounds. You're going to actually turn the thought around, and that gives you an opportunity to experience the exact opposite of what you believe. So, for example, take the statement, he doesn't care about me, and turn around to an opposite statement, such as, he does care about me. And then become very still again as you even contemplate that he does care about you. She says, remember, the work is the meditation and going into that stillness. And notice and think of genuine examples of where that person, he or she, actually does care about you. Think of those situations where that person actually did care about you. And your mind at the same time might scream, that's impossible. He doesn't care about me. But even then, still be gentle with that. And she said, that's fine if your mind is screaming and debating that. But still, she said, still continue to find genuine examples of where he or she does care about you, despite the mind being upset. Still search and find those times where the person cared about you. And this is just an example. So again, the first example of the opposite was about that statement, he doesn't care about me, is he does care about me. And she gave another example of an opposite to he doesn't care about me, which is I don't care about him. That's powerful, right? She said this may sound insane, and yet she asked you to find genuine examples of where you may have been uncaring towards him or towards her, whoever that person may be. So then the next step, find genuine examples of when you may have been uncaring towards that other person. And you may want to just write that down as well. Again, simple, short sentences. And she said this turnaround gives you an opportunity to experience the exact opposite of what you believe to be true. This is really powerful, to experience the exact opposite of what you believe to be true. Then she said, once you've found a couple of turnarounds to your original statement, she gave a third example on the opposite statement. So again, this original statement was, he doesn't care about me. And she said the opposite statement to that is, I don't care about me. And when she first said that, I went into stunned silence. I said, oh my God, that is so powerful. Think about that. I don't care about me. And this can be stunning at first. And so I invite you to get very still and find genuine examples of where you have not been caring about yourself. And there's probably been many times. I know there's been so many for myself personally when I thought about this sentence and this statement. Find examples where you have not been caring about yourself and write short statements about that, of when you haven't been caring about yourself. So then she gives an example that after going through these 4 questions and the turnaround, which she calls the work. Let's say you later have that thought that comes back. Oh, he doesn't care about me. You may actually find that you experience humor with that. And then you'll notice that used to make you sad or depressed, when you think about that thought, it now brings humor or a smile to your face. And I know this sounds like, how is that possible? When you actually go through this process, you'll see that it is possible. It truly can be life changing and life saving. She said, questioning one concept or belief can change the way you believe about everything. And when you change what you believe, when your perceptions change, your entire life can change. And she said, every time you do this process, you become enlightened to who and what you are, the true nature of your being. To question what you believe is an amazing gift to yourself, an amazing gift to yourself. And you can have it all the days of your life. And you can continuously use this process because she said the answers are within you, just waiting to be heard. Because as humans, we're all going to have emotions. Emotions are energy in motion, they're a wave. We want to ride the wave. But remember, you are not the emotion. You may be experiencing emotions, but you are not the emotion. And on that thought, I'm going to leave you with 2 quotes by Byron Katie. She said, a thought is harmless unless we believe it. It's not our thoughts, but our attachment to our thoughts that causes suffering. Attaching to a thought means believing that it's true without inquiring. A belief is a thought that we've been attaching to, often for years. And she also said, life is simple. Everything happens for you, not to you. Everything happens at exactly the right moment, neither too soon or too late. You don't have to like it. It's just easier if you do like it. And isn't that true? And I wanted to give you her website, which is www.thework.com. And I'm going to come back on the screen here. And again, her website is www.thework.com, and I'll put it on the screen here. So please take a look at her website, because remember that when you change your perceptions, you can change your life. And that's the work that my brother Deepak Chari does. He uses such an advanced voice biofeedback technology that changes the perception, changes how you interpreted the events that happen in your life. So when you look back upon those events, you literally are seeing it with new eyes, hearing it with literally new set of ears, and having new feelings about it. And when your perceptions change, when the way you view the events changes, everything in your life changes, and your life can become so harmonious. So more than ever, I really invite you to please contact us. And my brother's website is fastanxietyhelp.com. Fastanxietyhelp.com. And I have it on the screen. He offers a complimentary 15-minute consultation so that you can see how, with advanced voice biofeedback, you can really transform your life. And because, we all need support, especially in this day and age now more than ever before. I promise you, his work has been life-saving. It saved our lives when we went through very traumatic periods. It's been getting us through all of these incredibly traumatic, stressful events over the past 2 months, and then again within the past couple of weeks, for all 3 of us and with his clients. So please, we wanted to invite you to please contact Deepak through his website. So thank you so much for your attention, and thank you so much for being here today. And I'll be joined with my brother Deepak back on the screen.
Wonderful presentation, Dr. Chari. That was incredible, very informative, very inspiring, and very nurturing, I think, to everyone out there who's going through a lot of depression and even anxiety. So I hope you all enjoyed that. Love to see your comments in the room. Thank you for all those beautiful comments in the room, too. So please definitely send all your likes and loves to us in Facebook so you can express it and share this with any friends and family because it can really help a lot of people. Definitely. We really appreciate that. So now we will go into the Q&A section of our presentation. And as I look through the room here, there's some wonderful comments in the room. Um, Thank you, Dr. Chari. That was incredible. And
Thank you.
Dr. I think Tamarisa wrote, "Hi, awesome work."
Oh,
And
thank you.
so that was fantastic. We really appreciate those comments. And as I look through, I don't see any other questions offhand. I think probably you answered a lot of people's questions, or you got them your mind pondering as they are doing those incredible, powerful exercises.
And
So,
this is being shown on another live stream. So I just saw a question here
ah,
about the four questions. And just to remind you again, is that you find one specific event, with one particular person, whether it was current, whether it was in the past, and regardless of who it was with, that upset you. And then from there, you go into each, you write it down that I am, blank, let's say, whatever the emotion is, angry, upset, hurt, with whoever that person was, Jane, Bob, Doe, whatever their name is. Um, and then and then whatever that underlying reason was, because they're ignoring me, or they're not listening to me, or they hurt me, or they don't care about me, whatever it may be. And then from there, you then go into the four questions. And then after you go through the four questions, then you do the last statement was going into the exact opposite of what you wrote. And and really turning that around with what I just went through. But I think this is a really powerful one with when you're going the turnaround or doing the opposite statements, which is I don't care about me. And so many of us are always giving to others and not taking enough time for ourselves. And I'm guilty of that as well. So that is a powerful statement. So then when you notice that, when we really pay attention and take the time to notice that, then when you nurture ourselves, you can give from a full cup again. But it is so important to nurture yourself. And nurturing yourself could be different for everyone. It could be putting a fun video on, and or great music that you love and dancing to that, or painting, or going for a walk in nature, or reconnecting with your friends and family, whatever it may be for you. And it usually is different for each person, but be sure to give back to yourself, especially in this day and age. It's so important.
wonderful, wonderful. Excellent question. So, hope that was helpful. I think you found that answer very well, very helpful. Excellent. So, I wanted to ask there's no other questions in the chat room. I wanted to see if Mama Chari had any closing comments here uh, for our presentation here today. So,
Yes.
Mama Chari, yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I know, see that, like I said, the thoughts are very, very powerful. And at this time, we really have to watch our thoughts. It should not, it should not affect your health and your morale. And so we really need to have a very peaceful thoughts. And also, you see, people who are alone, please don't watch too much TV because it will affect you when you see those things again and again and again. So try to avoid the watching TV. Try to listen to a good music or get some funny movies and watch them. And you are not alone. I'm talking about the people who are alone. You are not alone. We are all together and we are all for you. And we want to be nice. I mean, we like to give our love, our comfort, and peace to all of us. And believe me, if there is a big solution, my husband always used to say, if there is any problem, there is always a solution. So these things will be solved. And also, the problems are not big, nothing bigger than God. God is always with us. And be with God at this time. Especially, it is so crucial right now. We all have to be with God, only God. God is the only one can give us peace, happiness, and comfort, and He will protect us. So, what all I can say more and more all the time, I am saying this, but I still will be saying this because please think of God. I do. Whenever I have a very uncomfortable and unhappiness, right at this time, I just close my eyes and think of God, and God is always gives you comfort. He will protect you. Believe me, God is there to protect us, not to. He doesn't want us to suffer and no pain. So please think of God. See, God is bigger than any problem. So God will be looking after us, and He will be protecting us, and He will give us love, and He will give us comfort and protection. So please think of God at this time. It's very, very crucial right now. There is nothing else can help us except God. Please take care of all of you. And we three are always with all of you. And we are all giving our love, our suggestions or whatever we know a little bit. And we want to help you all. That's all our main purpose. So we are all here for you. And we love to be with you every time when we have the get together, and we just enjoy being with all of you, and we love you all, and God bless you all. Please take care of all of you, and again namaste and good evening. Take care.
Thank you, Mama Chari, for those beautiful, nurturing, supportive words. I hope you all enjoyed Mama Chari's beautiful words. Thank you, Mama Chari.
Thank you.
So please stay tuned tomorrow, Saturday, at 10 a.m. Pacific time for our Chari Center Community Clinic. It's extremely informative. It also includes a live Q&A, and you'll find information you won't find anywhere else. To join that presentation, please text VClinic, VCLINIC, to 888-111. Text VClinic to 888-111, and you will receive the registration link for this incredible Chari Center Community Clinic, which is every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. It's also recorded and archived as well. So that being said, please attend our next Chari Center Health Hour, which is every Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time with live Q&A. So stay tuned for our next episode of Chari Health Hour next Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So on that note, Dr. Chari, do you have any other closing comments?
Well, just want to share again that we are all with all of you. We deeply care for each and every one of you. And please take good care of yourselves. And we love all of you and want to support you in any way we can. And please stay tuned for next week, on next Friday at 5 p.m., where we'll show another technique, a tapping technique to help clear anxiety, depression, and trauma. It's quick, it's easy, and we look forward to sharing that with you. So please join us next Friday.
Thank
Fantastic. Fantastic, beautiful words. All right, then. Without further ado, we will see you next time. Thank you all for joining us today.
thank you.
So thank you, everyone. See you
Thank
next
you.
Take
time.
care.
Take
Bye
Namaste.
care.
bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Namaste. Bye.